Right now on KHQ, breaking news.
Resources for this holiday, and we've had some extra teams worth of people. We've had a gang unit, some tactical people, some SWAT people. We had the helicopter up earlier that actually assisted us in finding a suspect we were looking for. We're holding our own.
At 6:30 on New Year's Day, 3 shootings in 72 hours. 2 people are dead, 2 people in critical condition. And right now, 2 of the 3 shooters remain at large in these unrelated attacks. We have been tracking all of the details in every shooting since Sunday morning. Thanks for being with us today. For KHQ Local News today, Happy New Year to you. I'm Alex Rozier. Let's first bring you up to speed on a shooting in North Spokane, specifically the 4200 block of North Jefferson. We're going to head straight out to Katie Steiner, who has been following this story since it broke around 3 this morning. And Katie, what can you tell us at this point?
Good morning, Alex. Well, really right now it's just a waiting game. Detectives are waiting for that search warrant so they can go into the house that we're talking about here, 4207 North Jefferson. That's the house you're looking at right now. But let's head straight to the video that we shot early this morning, right when that story broke at 3 o'clock this morning. Well, I can tell you right now, detectives are investigating a drive-by shooting. They said that the car drove by the house, shot a couple rounds into the house, and hit a woman who was there at a party. They say that she was struck in the abdomen. She has 1 shot at least and is seriously wounded right now in the hospital in stable condition. Another thing that they do not know the suspect, they don't know the car that they're looking for, but right now detectives do tell us that this is what they're working on right now.
We do have a couple of witnesses that we've managed to get a hold of, and we're trying to get information from there. It sounds like there might be some kind of a history to the house, and so we're investigating that as well.
Now, I've also talked to a couple other police officers here on scene, and they say that neighbors have had lots of problems with this house, so that also police officers have been here before. Reporting live in Spokane, Katie Steiner, KHQ Local News Today.
Katie, thank you. This is one of 3 shootings that happened over a span of 72 hours across North Spokane. You can see the location of all 3 of these shootings, one in North Spokane, one just north of downtown, and overnight a deadly shooting near Euclid and Thor in northeast Spokane. Taking you there now, you can see the scene with heavy police presence as officers scoured the area with the help of the Sheriff's Department's Air 1 helicopter. They were able to locate and arrest 33-year-old Shannon Johnson on second-degree murder charges. Johnson was caught hiding underneath the Green Street Bridge. We're waiting to find out if he will face more charges. Plus, a 3rd shooting over the weekend left 1 man dead, and we have been able to confirm that shooting was gang-related. This shooting happened on the corner of Spofford and Wall on Sunday evening around 5:45. Police believe a gang member, 22-year-old Salvador Romero Rivera, shot and killed a man at this home, and what police said was gang-motivated. Rivera Romero is a felon who's been convicted of 2 drug-related charges, as well as a DUI and being a minor in possession of alcohol. Here's a picture of Rivera Romero. He was last seen driving from the murder scene in a dark Dodge Intrepid. If you know anything at all, please call Crime Check immediately. We will be tracking this story as it develops. Remember, we still don't know the identity of the people involved in the shooting, as well as the condition of the 2nd man who was shot at the grocery store. If we aren't on air, you can get up-to-date updates on stories like this on your mobile devices with the KHQ app, or head to KHQ.com for a complete breakdown of the story. In our crime tracker, more problems for area law enforcement overnight. Spokane police say a man was slashed in the face near the intersection of Cora and Monroe in North Spokane just minutes after the shooting in northeast Spokane. Police say the man was taken to the hospital with minor injuries to his face. This morning, that suspect is at large but have no description of the alleged attacker. Out of central Washington, police say an alert security guard helps an 11-year-old girl escape from an attempted kidnapping late Saturday morning on the Wenatchee Valley College campus. 43-year-old Leavenworth resident John Graff was arrested on suspicion of first-degree attempted kidnapping. The Wenatchee girl was walking home from Western Market at 5th Street and Western Avenue through the college campus when a man approached her. That's when Edwards sprang into action and held the man down. The security guard, Kevin Edwards, also detained the suspect until Wenatchee police arrived at the scene. A district attorney says police in the northeast Oregon town of Hermiston fatally shot a bank robbery suspect who pointed a gun at them. A county official says the man wounded in the Monday afternoon shooting later died at the hospital. Officers were responding to a report of a robbery at the community bank. Witnesses said the report seen the robbery suspect leave the bank and enter a liquor store. 2 police officers entered the liquor store a short time later. Later, the suspect was seen pointing his gun at officers when they shot him. New this morning, a crash northwest of Spokane blocked Highway 291 for several hours while WSP worked to clear up the area. Take a look at this video. Incredible video here. It happened in the northbound lanes of Highway 291 near Lowell, less than 2 miles outside the Spokane city limits. And police now tell us that alcohol was a factor. The crash happened just after 11 p.m. And while there were alternate routes available, traffic was slow going. WSP, Spokane County Fire, and Spokane County deputies were on scene. WSP says agencies have been kept very busy in the past 24 hours.
It's been a busy night. Between us and the other public safety agencies in the area, we've been running pretty hard.
5 people were injured in the crash. 1 person was transported to the hospital with serious injuries. Well, an Idaho senator will likely be required to have an ignition interlock device installed in his car after his Virginia DUI arrest. But back here in the Northwest, that wouldn't have been the case in his home state of Idaho. 17 states, including Washington and Virginia, require the devices to prevent even first-time convicted drunken drivers from starting up their cars while under the influence. But Idaho requires the devices for repeat offenders only. We're on the 6s. Let's take a look at weather.
Right now, your weather in the 6s.
Yeah, you know, not a whole lot difference from what we saw yesterday, several days before yesterday, kind of that cloudy, cold pattern that we've been in, but just not a whole lot of activity in terms of precipitation out there. That's your high temperature for today around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, about 25 degrees. And once again this morning, dealing with some fog out there that eventually will lift a little bit, but not enough. And it's going to feel like that overcast, gray kind of day once again for us. Mostly cloudy, but the difference today, we do have the chance of some slight sun breaks out there, especially across the basin. Right now, 18 degrees in Spokane and Omak, 19 degrees in Coeur d'Alene, 22 in Pullman, 27 in Moses Lake and Sandpoint. So chilly, but look at this. This is what it actually feels like. These are the wind chill temperatures. Feels like 13 degrees in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. So when you walk outside, yeah, it's going to be chilly out there. 12 degrees, what it feels like in Missoula. And the fog improving, but you see Omak there still under 2 miles of visibility. Around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, 7 miles of visibility. Just be careful. Could be freezing fog in some places. Stay tuned, though. Pretty good looking 6-day forecast coming up as long as you can stand the cold temperatures, Alex.
Blake, thank you. A story that's regional but getting national attention. A horrific bus crash killed 9 and injured more than 25 Sunday in Oregon. And now family members and survivors of the accident are sharing their stories. New home video shows the snowy ice conditions along I-84 just east of Pendleton. That's where the tour bus with 49 people on board hit a guardrail and flew some 200 feet down this embankment, rolled over at least once and came to a rest upright at the bottom of the slope.
I screamed and yelled. Some mothers screamed to find their son or daughter.
The bus headed down the freeway for a mechanical inspection, and now investigators are collecting and analyzing evidence as well as gathering people's personal belongings. A 47-year-old Hayden man is waking up behind bars after police arrested him for aggravated assault after allegedly pulling 2 knives on his female roommate. Kootenai County Sheriff's deputies arrested David Bush after his roommate reported that he was drunk when he followed his female roommate into her room. The report said that the female roommate said Bush told her that he was going to terminate her while holding the knives and standing in the bedroom with her. After a decade-long campaign to legalize marijuana hit a high mark in 2012 with victories in Washington state and Colorado, marijuana legalization advocates are mapping out a strategy for the next round of elections. They have their sights set on ballot measures in 2014 and 2016 in states such as California and Oregon, which were among the first in the country to allow marijuana for medical use. Although those states more recently rejected border legalization, drug law reform groups say they remain undeterred. Here on the West Coast, we were one of the last time zones to cross into 2013, and there were lots of fireworks to celebrate. In Seattle, a landmark lit up the sky. The famed Space Needle was the site for a magnificent display. The razzle-dazzle of a Vegas show. You can bet they welcomed 2013 with some excitement in Las Vegas, too. Hundreds of thousands were on the Las Vegas Strip to watch that city's firework bursting into the night. And now for every city, not just here, all that remains is a big cleanup. Listen to this. Authorities in the Los Angeles area say it's a good example of why hikers need to pay attention to weather predictions. Rescuers were able to save a man and his 2 dogs from having to spend a freezing night at the snowy top of a mountain. The rescuers said Sunday in the Los Angeles National Forest came after the man and his dog slid off a trail and down a 30-foot ice chute. Swirling snow and bone-chilling winds kept helicopters from flying low enough to be used in the rescue, but a search and rescue team went in on foot and got the hiker out safely. It's a tradition that goes back on New Year's Day to the late 1970s. No matter if it's freezing, snowing, raining, or a combination of all 3. It's the Polar Bear Plunge in Lake City. The annual charge into Lake Coeur d'Alene will be at noon today at Sanders Beach. An expected 500 people with about an equal crowd on hand to watch will dash into the lake. The KHQ News team is really no stranger to the Polar Plunge. Just a few years ago, Leslie Lowe, Dave Law, very own Blake Jensen jumped in, as well as former meteorologist Bill Kelly, into the frigid waters of Medical Lake. If you're planning to take part, make sure someone in there is with a warm change of clothes, because you're definitely going to need it. Blake's complete forecast is still ahead straight here on KHQ Local News Today.